Thank you for joining Cancer Support Community Atlanta for this program. Please visit our website, cscatlanta.org, for a complete list of live and recorded events. If this is your first time participating, we invite you to complete a new attendee form to stay connected to all future programs.
This is Emily Brown, the Program Director at Cancer Support Community. Again, thank you everyone for joining us today on this cooking demo. Chef Ashley does these demos for us every month. We're so grateful for her for doing these for us for this nutrition value. But Ashley, I'll let you go ahead and get started.
Hey everybody, how's it going? So today our theme is all about eating the rainbow, and that basically means eating a variety of colors. And these are not colors from like artificial, right? These are not food dyes. These are colors naturally found in nature. And so I'm gonna just give a shout out real quick to some of the colors that I'm highlighting here. So first off, you'll see we have yellow corn, we have orange bell pepper. We can even count the onion. The onion falls into a white category, so white sweet onion. We've got green lima beans, green parsley, green basil, and then on over onto the other side, we have, here we go, blue or purple blueberries, which are in season. We've got some green, a variety of greens in here. I'll talk more specifically about what these are, but this falls into the green category. And those are like the main colors that we have here today. The only color that I'm missing, which I was super sad about, which I meant to grab from my garden, but of course I forgot, was tomatoes. So pretend that we have some red tomatoes here as well. All of these colors, can anyone tell me why? Why is it important to have these colors in your mixed in throughout the day in your diet? Can anyone type it in or unmute yourself and let me know? What do you think? Why?
They have antioxidants.
Yes, antioxidants. And also the thing that gives them the color is the phytonutrients, the antioxidants, the phytonutrients. And the key is the variety. So there are antioxidants and phytonutrients that we have not even discovered yet. So by incorporating a variety of these different colors of fruits and vegetables into your daily diet, daily routine, is going to help you get a variety of those. And those things help prevent disease, fight disease, reduce inflammation in the body. It just also just makes you feel good. So for mental health and all of that stuff as well. And it looks pretty on the plate. And who doesn't want to eat a plate that looks good? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start in on the recipes. I'm going to start, the first recipe is a succotash salad. So this is a cold dish. A lot of times I think we think of succotash and we think of a warm dish, but we're going to make this one cold today. We're going to start by cooking the baby lima beans. I just have a pot of boiling water. These were frozen. I'm just adding those in. I'm going to bring it back up to a boil, and those are going to cook for like 10 to 12 minutes. You can switch up the pea or bean based on what you can find. So I found baby lima beans in the frozen section. Your recipe also suggests black-eyed peas if you want to cook those from dry, or you can even find them in a can or frozen. Those are an option. And or like if you're shopping at a farmer's market or at, sometimes they have these at the grocery store. They have those little, like, they're a wide variety of names, but those little fresh peas, lady peas, zipper peas, if you can find those are readily available in the summer. Those are amazing. And they only take like a few minutes to cook. So unfortunately, I don't know, unfortunately or not, whatever your preference. I didn't have anything exciting like a zipper pea. I do have these baby lima beans, which are also very delicious. So let me get this going back up to a boil. Okay. The next ingredient I'm going to work on here is the corn for this. So these are fresh corn on the cob. These have not been cooked. These are raw. I found these so fresh at the store. that you can, cut off a bit of it, taste it, and see what you think. This is good raw on its own. So a trick I have, so we're going to remove this from the cob. And a trick I have for that is, if you've ever tried to do this before, you may have found that when you take the corn off the cob, the corn flies everywhere. Some of it goes on the floor, and it's really hard to gather up and get back into the bowl. So one tip I have for this, which you can try, is take your cutting board and just sit it right down into a sheet pan. You can see this is like a rimmed sheet pan here. All right, that just helps contain everything a little better. So I'm just running my knife down the cob, holding it upright, and it's pretty easy to get this off. I've already done a few here. And this is 4 cobs. If you do not, for whatever reason, if it's out of season, if you don't have fresh corn, you can always use frozen corn for this. While it doesn't have like quite that summer fresh crunch sweetness, it's still delicious. I would just like blanch it quickly to take, to cook it from frozen, and then chill it back down for the salad. All right. So that is our corn. You can see I have saved these 4 cobs. Not because I'm going to eat them like that, but because these still have a ton of flavor in them. And a really cool thing and that gives the soup great flavor is to put these corn cobs into, like if you're going to make a vegetable soup, put these corn cobs into the water, into the stock, or make like a corn stock to flavor your summer soup. It is so good. That's what I'm going to do with these when I get home. So save these. Basically, you just put them into a pot with boiling water. You don't need a whole lot of water, especially if you only have 4 cobs, but just cover them and let them simmer for several hours, and then taste your liquid. You will be shocked. You will have corn stock, and it is so, so good. And you can just add that into, whatever soup you're making. Really, really good if you're going to make like a corn soup, obviously, but even if you're going to just make like a regular vegetable soup or lentil soup, anything like that, it adds just like a really nice sweetness, and then it's a good way to use up all of the vegetables. All right, so now the transfer of the corn into the bowl. Let's see. I'm just going to lift up my sheet pan and kind of work it in. I don't mind those big, like we have some pieces that stayed together. That is totally fine. That adds to the unique look of the salad. Well, I'm curious to know what you guys think about eating raw corn. It's not like a common way to eat corn. If you're at all concerned about it, of course, you can just blanch the corn for a few minutes in some boiling water. Okay, so that is it for the corn. Now we're going to add some more raw ingredients. The idea here is just highlighting summer, getting those fresh, really nice flavors. Okay, so I have a bell pepper here. Your recipe lists a red bell pepper, which is fine if you have a red bell pepper. I didn't, for whatever reason, the red bells weren't in stock at the store, so I went ahead with orange. So I'm just going to remove the seeds here and sort of that white part of the pepper. And then we'll just check. Everything is a complete and total experiment. But I've had really good luck with these a variety of tomatoes called Better Boy. Oh my gosh, they have been so good. They remind me of eating fresh tomatoes from my grandma's house. Oh, so good. So sorry I didn't bring those, but let's just use our imagination. I tell my kids that a lot. Use your imagination and pretend it's in there. So I just cut these into strips, and then now I am just doing small bite-sized pieces. Add those into the bowl. Lengthwise chop. Helps to have a sharp knife. We've been talking about sharp knives in this class periodically, and how nice it is when to cook and cut and be in the kitchen with a sharp knife. It makes a world of difference, and I don't know, it just changes. It makes it so much easier, because one thing you do every time you cook is use a knife. Pretty much every time, use a knife. So take the time to get your knife sharpened. Cook's Warehouse, Sur La Table. We said Cutco has a knife sharpening service. You take your knives into the store and drop them off for a few days, pick them back up, and oh my gosh, what a difference.
Ashley, we have a question in the chat box.
All right, so that's our bell pepper. Does someone have a question?
Yes, someone asked if you're concerned about genetically modified corn.
Does someone have a question? Okay. Genetically modified corn. So yeah, I mean, I always try to buy organic corn whenever possible. I mean, even when I'm buying tortilla chips, because they're made from corn, I try to get organic. I do personally buy organic corn whenever possible. Of course, I don't try to be crazy about it and not eat regular corn, non-organic corn. But whenever possible, I do prefer, and I do that across the board with most produce. I try to buy organic whenever possible, just because of the pesticides, like you said, the GMO possibility of GMO corn. So I do think it is a good idea to do that if possible. If you can afford it, if you can find it as well. What do you think? You consider it? Well, let us know. Let us know what you guys think. I mean, GMO, the verdict is still out, of course, like on a lot of food topics such as GMO. But you know what? I just, to be safe, I do personally, and just not even for GMO, but just to avoid the pesticides that can be sprayed on all fruits and vegetables. So this onion that I have right here is a Vidalia onion. If you aren't familiar with, well, I'm sure we're in Georgia, right? So Vidalia is like a little town in Georgia, and they are the ones that have the Vidalia onions. And these are like the sweetest, yummiest onions to have for summertime. So this is just a real small one. If you can't find Vidalia, just there's other varieties of sweet onions available in the store. The reason why you should go for sweet in this particular salad is because everything is raw. And I don't know, I'm sensitive to raw onion, and I feel like it can definitely overpower a salad. So having the sweet onion in there is just really, really nice. And I'm just dicing this into fairly small pieces. That way you don't have a big chunk of it in there. But again, it helps to have that really sharp knife to get that small dice. All right. And if you have, a red onion that you want to use up, or just a regular yellow onion that you want to use up, and you want to kind of get rid of some of that hot, like onion heat, you can soak this in a little bit of water, and that will help kind of bring out a little bit of the heat. Okay, so what else do we have here? We've got our green things. So our fresh herbs, we have parsley and basil. So with the parsley, the stems are completely edible. And so I just kind of gather those up on my board and run my knife for like a rough chop all the way through. These have been washed and dried really well. And that makes it a lot easier and faster. So that's good for parsley. If you have leftover stems, add that in with your corn to make your corn stock. It'll add a little extra herby flavor. So that's the parsley going in. Now we have some basil. Now this one, you do need to remove the basil from the leaves from the stem for the best flavor. This is just sweet basil, which is the most common variety that you find in the grocery store. You can use, if you're growing basil in your garden, you can, switch it up, add the different varieties. We've got Thai basil, a good one to grow, as well as like the purple basil is really pretty. So I'm just slicing this thinly. Okay, add that in. And then we're gonna make a little dressing. I've got all the ingredients in here for the salad, except for the peas, which I should check on those. Let me grab a spoon. Okay. I just do these by taste. I don't know, I gave a variety of, a range of, so now when I cooked these, I did not add salt. Your recipe, I think, says salted water, but don't add salt to the water for these baby limas because they will stay kind of tough and not absorb the water as well if there's salt in there. So I just always wait until the end, and we'll actually just salt it in the salad. And it's still delicious. Okay, so let's make our dressing really quickly. This is like the simplest type of salad dressing you could find. It's basically an oil, a vinegar, salt and pepper. So easy. Your recipe suggests white wine vinegar. We have the champagne vinegar left over from another cooking class, so I'm just going to use that instead. It's a similar flavor profile, and it's delicious. So that's a couple tablespoons of champagne vinegar or white wine vinegar. You could switch it up too if you have, if you want to do red wine vinegar, or if you have, I don't know, another flavor of vinegar, sherry vinegar, you could definitely change it up. So then we're going to add extra virgin olive oil, about 1/3 of a cup. That's like a lot to me, so I'm going to add a little less just to start and see where we go from there. So
Yes,
that was
so everyone knows I am going to be putting the,
I don't know, closer to 1/4 of a cup of another question.
I'm putting the recipe in the chat box right now, the link to it, if some people are asking for the recipe. And it's on our website, cscatlanta.org/nutrition, just for anybody who wants a copy. Also, we did have a question, Ashley. Okay. Somebody asked, what is the best way to dry greens? Mine never stay dry.
This is our dressing. Oh, dry greens. Okay. Yes. So I just, so like parsley, basil, I just rinse them in water under the sink. And then you can, I just use, it was such a small amount. I just use a paper towel just to first like kind of shake them off into the paper towel, just like that. And then I just use the paper towel and kind of blot it dry. And then they sat up here for maybe 5 minutes or so. And that was enough to get them dry. You could also try, if you're doing a larger quantity, you can use a salad spinner. I feel like that works really, really well. You might also, after you spin them in the salad spinner, let me show you what that means. What a salad spinner is. It looks like this, something like this. after you spin them in the salad spinner and get most of the water off, you still may need to go back with like a paper towel or even just a regular dish towel just to kind of, blot them dry. I know it's kind of an annoying step, but it's definitely a necessary step. Okay, so this is I'm going to get those zipper peas, not zipper peas, but baby lima beans out of the pot. So I'm going to drain those. Let's see. Grab a strainer here. And then they're hot, right? Not what we want for this cold salad. So I'm just going to actually put some ice. Let's see. Put them in with some ice. And we'll add them towards the end. I'm just going to add a little ice on them. We'll let that kind of melt over top. And then we'll add those into the salad at the end. So you can see in here the peas with the ice. So that'll kind of help chill them down. The ice will melt and go into the pot. And then we'll add those into our salad. Okay. So let me grab a spoon. I can show you what the salad looks like so far, and then we'll move up on to the other recipe. If I can find a spoon. Here we go. Okay. So you can see all the nice. Remember, you're imagining some tomatoes in there. Good one to add. To serve cold at a picnic for lunches. Really nice and refreshing. Okay, so that is that recipe. I'm going to move on now to the other recipe we have. I'll come back and add the peas in just a minute. Okay, so the pea on this side, pardon us while we move the camera, is a blueberry quinoa salad. So we're getting the nice blue color. So the first thing we have to do for this recipe is cook the quinoa. So quinoa is in here. One thing you have to do with quinoa is rinse it. Usually it's not pre-rinsed. So I'm going to use a fine mesh strainer to any sort of bitter flavor from the quinoa. So just cold water over top. Give it a good rinse. You need the fine mesh strainer because otherwise, if I put it just in a regular strainer like I had for the lima beans, it's so small that it's just going to fall right through the holes. In this pot, I have some boiling salted water. So that's where we're going to cook the quinoa. And it takes just about 10 minutes or so, 10 to 12 minutes to cook. So just kind of scrape that in. I will set I didn't set a timer for the lima beans, but I am going to set a timer for this because this is more, you can definitely overcook it and then it gets really mush. I love adding quinoa though. It's great for fiber. It's great for amino acids, which is found in protein. And it just kind of absorbs the flavor of whatever sauce or dressing you have. Pretty little. Okay, so I'm just scraping that down off the sides. And then once it comes back up to a boil, we'll set the timer here on the stove. Okay, let's see if I can figure this out. 12 minutes. See if it starts on its own. There we go. Okay. Let's turn this one off. Okay. All right. We're good. Okay, so now that quinoa is going in the pot, let me talk about our salad greens here. This is one of our green, falls into the green category. This came from this package, Super Greens. It has a variety of greens in here, red and green Swiss chard, tap sao, which is kind of like bok choy, it looks like this, arugula, and spinach. So definitely a nice combo of different greens, and they have a really good flavor. And honestly, this is the red Swiss chard. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that does have like a red stem. That definitely fits into the red category. So kind of cool to have that little extra color there. So this salad there's not a whole lot going on. It's pretty simple, keeping, it's highlighting these very few ingredients, the salad greens, pecans, and blueberries. So all things that are very popular in Georgia. We have Georgia pecans, we have Georgia blueberries. So these are the pecans. I bought these in a container. They are raw, which is great because that means they have no added oil. They're not processed. But I want to toast them to bring out some extra pecan flavor. So I've got them on a sheet pan, spread out. I'm going to put them in a 350-degree oven and just let them go for like 5 minutes. And then it'll bring out the extra flavor. You could also do that in a toaster oven because it's such a small amount. You just use the toaster oven if you have one of those. All right, and then we have blueberries in the salad. So about a half a cup of blueberries that actually go into the salad. Blueberries are in season right now. They're actually growing near, just like in the community where my parents live, they're just growing like as part of the landscaping. So we've gone and picked them multiple times. So blueberries go in, and then we're going to make the dressing. And part of the dressing is going to include blueberries. The rest of the blueberries are going to get blended up into the dressing to give you some extra blueberry flavor. All right, so to make the dressing, let me dry this pot out here really quickly.
If anybody, I see 2 people have their hand up. If you have a question, feel free to unmute yourself.
Oh, I have a question.
Yeah.
What type of EVO do you use, or do you have a preference?
Okay, so there's so much variety in the store.
Right.
I'm not going to point you to a specific brand, but there's things that I look for where you can kind of narrow it down in the aisle. You want to get a dark bottle, so something that's going to block out the light. And that is because the light degrades the quality of the oil. So you need that dark bottle. That's number one. Number two is you're going to look for extra virgin in the name, extra virgin olive oil. And then number three, you're going to look for first cold pressed.
Cold press. Okay. Okay.
And that is going to tell you, like, this is the highest quality right here, and this is going to have the best flavor, and this is going to have the most health properties intact.
Okay.
And when you're storing your olive oil, you want to make sure you keep the lid on, because in a pot, in, just like regular room temperature, because then that can also degrade the quality. And then you always want to look at the best by dates to make sure, because your oil will definitely, not just olive oil, any oil will definitely not good flavor, and then all the health properties are gone, lost.
Awesome. Thank you.
So that's
Thank
olive
you.
oil.
I didn't know.
I use it a lot in these classes. Okay.
You had a preference. Thank you.
And the oils in this recipe, they're kind of specific about, yeah, no problem. They're kind of specific in this recipe about grapeseed oil, olive oil. The reason why I think they're recommending grapeseed oil for sauteing is because it has a higher heat point, or smoke point rather, than olive oil. So we keep the olive oil for raw applications like salad dressing, and use the grapeseed oil, which also has some great health benefits as well. And it's a neutral oil. Okay, so this is it. So I have one salad dressing. A shallot is a form of onion. It's great in salad dressings. It has a milder taste, so it's not going to overpower, but you're still going to get that onion flavor. Okay, so shallot. I'm just going to rough chop it. I'm not even going to worry about it because it's going to get blended up in the blender. I mean, in the food processor with dressing. So really the size and all of that doesn't matter so much. So just kind of slice it. Add it into your bowl here. And we're just going to let that go for a few minutes just to kind of soften it up and really bring out kind of the sweetness of it. Okay. Now we're going to add the other ingredients to our food processor. Okay, so I have a food processor here. Let me just see if I can get this closer. Okay. You could also do this in a blender if you have like a high-powered blender. It should work to blend everything up. So we're just going to go down the list. We've got balsamic vinegar, about 1/3 of a cup. You're going to love the combination of balsamic and blueberry. Balsamic and any fruit really is good. Balsamic and blueberry is very nice. Okay, and then we have honey, which this is left over from many classes, so I had it sitting upside down. Hopefully we can get the rest of this honey out. I'm pretty sure this is about a tablespoon. We're just going to get out whatever we can get out here from the container. All right, that's good for honey. And then we've got a little bit of olive oil, 1 to 2 tablespoons. Just eyeball it. Salt and pepper and blueberries. Give this a stir. All right, I'm going to check on our pecans. I'm going to turn those off. And they will continue to cook in the oven, so be sure to pull them out, and we'll let them cool over here. It looks like, oh, there's our quinoa. Okay. And so we've got a little bit of salt and pepper for our dressing. We'll add in our blueberries. That was about 1/3 of a cup. And then we've got shallots coming. Woo. Don't let those get away from you. They're getting some nice color. I'm going to let them, I don't want to put them in there like smoking hot. So let's let them cool for a second off the heat. And then we'll add them in. And then we'll give it a blend, and that will be our dressing. Goes on. And we'll turn it on. All right, let's see how we did here. Scrape down the sides. Okay, there's blueberry like skins in here. So if you did blend this in a Vitamix or another type of high-powered blender, you could definitely get rid of those skins. I'll let it go one more time, but you're probably not even going to be able to see them when it all gets incorporated into the salad. Okay. So that is the dressing. Ready to go. Cool. I'm going to taste it. The best way I think to taste salad dressing is to take whatever you're serving it with, whether it's a leafy green or other type of vegetable, dip that in, and then taste it. You're going to get a better representation of the flavor versus like dipping in a spoon. It's good. And you do taste a little blueberry in there, which is nice. Okay, I'm going to remove this blade, kind of scrape that off. And if you don't end up using all of this for your salad right away, what am I smelling? You can save it, and we'll keep for like, I would say 4 to 5 days in the refrigerator. Oops, that is hot. Let me cool this pan down real quick.
Actually, someone asked if you cook the quinoa uncovered.
I did, yeah. As long as you, yeah, so it's different than cooking rice. When you cook rice, you leave the lid on. You do not want the steam to escape. But with quinoa, it's more like cooking pasta. It does not matter if the steam escapes. I cooked it more like pasta. I didn't measure the water, and I'm going to drain it then just like you would pasta. This is telling me hot, hot, hot. Okay. Oh no, that's not telling me hot. That is telling me my timer is off. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Let me get this quinoa out of here that we did not cook really quickly, and then we'll strain it. And this is another one where you want to let it cool before putting it into the salad. Get all that raw quinoa. That was from rinsing the raw quinoa before we cooked it. Get all that out because you don't want to mix those two together. Okay, perfect. Let's give it a drain. Give it a good shake. Get all that water out. You don't want to water down your salad. Let's see. Give it a few. I don't know if you can see that water is still coming out. Give it a few shakes. Really get it. Okay. A little, I mean, of course, a little moisture is fine, but you don't want to, again, like you don't want to dry out, water down your dressing. All right, I'm just going to put this back in the pot. And then I think the fastest way to cool this would either be just pop it in your freezer or your refrigerator. Because again, you don't want to add this to your salad warm, right? Your greens are going to wilt, and that's not going to be good. So let me go back here. These are the lima beans. All that ice is melted. Let's taste it and see if it's more like room temperature, which is totally fine. So I'm going to add that one back. Make sure all the ice is gone and not sitting in there. I see like one little piece of ice. And that's it. Everything else is melted. So go ahead and add these beans in here with the rest of your salad ingredients. Give that a stir. And then you want to taste it, see if you need to add anything else, like you may want to add more dressing, you may want to add more salt, pepper, more herbs. Obviously this is like super flexible salad here. I always definitely like to taste it and check it out because it's easy to add, to change up the flavor if needed. So I am going to grab a spoon and just see where we're at here. It's very good. There's so much sweetness from the corn. It's nice and crunchy, and you get the herbs, which is awesome. It's not too salty. I really like it. I'm going to leave it as is. But again, if you have a tomato in there, tomato would be nice. So that is the succotash salad. It makes quite a bit. So that's an easy one you can share at like a potluck or something like that. Picnic, take for lunch. Really good. All right. Back over here to this salad. Really the only thing we have to do, let's check on our, let's see if these guys have cooled. These are the pecans. Move this out of the way. Okay. So it's up to you whether or not these are big pecans, which is amazing. High quality. So you could chop these if you want to, but I honestly They're so good. Doing that toasting really, really, really brings out the flavor. Definitely do that extra step if you have the raw pecans. So I'm just going to leave them whole. Just put them right in the salad. They're so good. Okay. And then we have, let's do the quinoa. We don't want it to freeze. Let's see. Check on the heat here. Oh, it's still hot. Still super hot. So let's put that back in. You're going to imagine that I put that in there. But it really does, when you look at the quantity of quinoa here, it's sort of the same. And actually, I didn't even add all the greens. So your recipe recommends adding all of these greens. So really, when you're talking about the quantity of quinoa here, I feel like the recipe should really be called blueberry quinoa, well, salad, but mixed green salad or something like that, because the quantity of quinoa is less than the salad greens, which honestly, I think just makes it like a super easy way to eat the quinoa. It's not like too overpowering quinoa flavor. If that's not your thing, it's a really nice way to like incorporate that quinoa in there without it being like the number one ingredient. So let's stick that back in there and let it cool. And then your dressing would just get drizzled over top. You're going to pretend the quinoa is in there. And you could, of course, leave the quinoa out if you wanted to just do a salad, like an actual lettuce salad greens, that is an option. Okay, so that is the blueberry salad. You're imagining the quinoa's in there. We can add it towards the end. But let's take a minute here. And does anyone have any questions or comments about eating the rainbow, about anything that we've cooked today?
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining. I did want to let everybody know about our nutrition seminar we have next week, which is also about eating the rainbow with our dietitian, Kristen Kugalowski, is going to be discussing why it's important to get those phytonutrients that Ashley talked about earlier today. So please join us for that. That's next Tuesday at noon, and you can register on our website, cscatlanta.org, or just shoot me an email and I'll get you the information, emily@cscatlanta.org. But thank you so much, Ashley, for doing the program today.
Thank you, guys. It was
Thank
so
you.
good.
Thank you for joining Cancer Support Community Atlanta for this program. If you're interested in other live or recorded programs, please visit the online program tab of our website, cscatlanta.org, or follow us on Facebook. We'll be sharing additional information on upcoming programs.